Joanna's purse was empty, just like the cupboards in her old wooden house. The woman had no money to support herself, while her son Oliver lived in luxury with his wife. But it wasn't always like this. Oliver had a great job, a luxurious house, and his wife was a beautiful but very spoiled woman. When the couple started dating, Crystal avoided her young husband's mother because she found her insignificant. Despite growing up in a poor and humble family, Crystal, on the contrary, was arrogant and aspiring to a life of luxury. Crystal dreamed that when she got married, her husband would be a wealthy man who would give her everything her parents couldn't. When she met Oliver, what interested her the most wasn't that he was smart and handsome, but that he was rich and could fulfill all her desires. When she was in school, it was hard for her to get the clothes she wanted. She was teased by her classmates because she wore the same outfit all the time. The situation was complicated as her parents, with 2 other children to care for, could barely afford to eat. Oliver's story was similar. He also grew up in a simple house, but the difference was the love and care his mother always provided. Despite not having luxuries, there was never a shortage of food and clothes. For Joanna, life was a struggle. She worked cleaning houses, sometimes taking care of clients' children as a nanny, doing everything she could to support her son. And the boy had a deep admiration for his mother, this woman who faced every challenge head-on, doing everything in her power to support him and give him the opportunity to have a good education. After long days of work, his mother used to bake rolls with dried fruits and nuts. She sold them at school the next day, trying to earn some extra money to buy books and school supplies. He remembered those moments clearly, understanding how hard his mother's work was. Dedicated to his studies, he worked hard to go to college and build a successful future. He graduated with honors from high school and entered a prestigious university. Over the years, Oliver successfully graduated and landed a high-level job in a top-tier company. Surprisingly, in his 6th year, he became the youngest member of the company's top management. Looking back, Oliver recalled the tough times he and his mother endured. Now, with professional success, he had the means to provide everything. He bought a beautiful and comfortable house, where he started living with his mother. Joanna was overjoyed not to have to work anymore, as her son took care of everything, expressing love and gratitude for her sacrifices. However, the constant work had distanced them a bit. When Oliver met Crystal for the first time, it was love at first sight. After a few minutes of conversation and a whole night of dancing at a mutual acquaintance's birthday party, they agreed to meet at a cafe. On the day of the meeting, Oliver arrived on time, and upon seeing Crystal, he was even more impressed by her beauty. She had prepared herself perfectly for the meeting, making sure he couldn't take his eyes off her. On the first date, Oliver surprised Crystal with a gift, beautiful earrings. Initially, she hesitated to accept something so expensive from a complete stranger, claiming discomfort. However, Oliver assured her that she shouldn't be embarrassed because she was incredibly beautiful to him, and he looked forward to getting to know her better. These words charmed the girl. Oliver wasn't just handsome and intelligent. To Crystal, he was the perfect man, someone rich who could offer her a life beyond her modest financial situation. The two started dating, and at some point, he took her home to introduce her to his mother. Seeing the luxurious house, Crystal felt she had made the right choice. However, she couldn't be interested in Joanna, finding her unattractive and even assuming she was a housemaid. During one of their visits, while Oliver went out to buy groceries, Crystal made it clear to her future mother-in-law that she had no plans to live with her after the wedding. The lady, calm, said the girl didn't need to worry. She had her own house and would return to it to not disturb the engaged couple. On another occasion, Crystal questioned her mother-in-law about her lack of clothes, noting that she seemed to wear practically the same outfits all the time. Joanna replied that those things weren't important to her. Gradually, the girl began to settle into the house, getting involved in household decisions and even going shopping with her boyfriend. Later, the two young people decided to practically live together, and that's when Joanna talked to her son. She expressed her longing for the old house and the intention to go back. Deep down, she knew she was disrupting the young couple's life. Despite Oliver's objection, his girlfriend, Crystal, managed to convince him that it would be better this way. A month later, they got married, and on that day, Crystal practically declared war on Joanna. She insisted that her mother-in-law should not show up at the couple's house and also forbade her from asking for money from her son, arguing that he now had new family expenses and Joanna should take care of herself. Joanna, however, reassured Crystal, saying she didn't need to worry. She was used to working and taking care of herself, not wanting to be a burden to anyone. Joanna saw her son's happiness and didn't want to become a weight in the family's newly formed life. Within a few days, the woman packed her bags and moved to the old house. From then on, she lost all contact with her son, as he was always busy with work. Meanwhile, she carried on with her life, making her own purchases and living peacefully in the old house. Oliver simply disappeared from the scene, with no further contact with his mother. Joanna, now alone, sought employment, but her advanced age made it difficult to find work as a cleaner. Over time, her savings dwindled, especially due to expenses on medicines. Remembering the words exchanged with her daughter-in-law, Joanna managed to buy food, keeping to herself until there was no other choice. However, as time passed, the situation tightened even more. With no food on the shelves and after much contemplation, Joanna made a difficult decision: to go to her son's house. Upon arrival, she was greeted by her daughter-in-law opening the door. Crystal was straightforward with Joanna, asking her not to come anymore, claiming that Oliver no longer wanted contact, enjoying the freedom without his mother's constant supervision. She lied, saying Oliver was on a business trip when, in fact, he was at home, but Crystal chose not to inform him about Joanna's visit. And she had her reasons. One day, Crystal asked Oliver for money for shopping, but he refused. So, he suggested that she take an envelope with money to his mother. Seizing the opportunity, Crystal went shopping with the money intended for Joanna, hiding her actions from her husband. When recounting to Oliver, she painted a picture of how well the mother was doing in the old house, enjoying living alone. The next day, Joanna, desperate, went to the grocery store owner looking for a job, but he refused due to her age. Faced with the rejection, she asked to borrow some food, as she hadn't eaten for 2 days. At that moment, Oliver appeared at the store, questioning why she was asking for food and mentioning that Crystal said he didn't want to see her. "When did you come to see me, Mom?" the son asked. At that moment, the woman fainted due to dehydration and her precarious state, being rushed to the hospital. Oliver spent the day with her, and when she was discharged, he took her back home. Meanwhile, Crystal arrived home after another shopping spree. Excited, she showed her purchases to her husband, who, while admiring everything, asked, "It's all very nice, dear, but tell me, did you give my mother the money when I asked you to?" "Of course, dear. I gave her the money and even bought groceries so she wouldn't have to go shopping," replied the woman. At that moment, Joanna appeared behind Oliver. Immediately, Crystal erupted. "What did she tell you?" "She has always been against me. But Oliver, firm, responded, Crystal, you kicked my mother out of the house, lied to me, and, worst of all, stole her money, making my mother beg because she had nothing to eat. From today, she'll live with us again, said the man. Look, Oliver, if your mother lives here, we will have problems, argued Crystal. Take it easy, dear. We won't have problems. When she comes to live here, I won't live with you anymore. So, pack your things and go live with your parents. I'm getting a divorce. My number one priority in life is my mother, the woman who did everything for me to succeed, stated Oliver, decisively ending the conversation. At that moment, Crystal realized she was about to lose everything she gained through her marriage to Oliver. Even trying to soften the conversation, Oliver had already made his decision. The next day, Crystal packed all her belongings and left. Oliver made a wise decision, appreciating what his mother did for him. This reminds us of the importance of appreciating our parents, as someone who truly loves you will never force you to choose between them and your parents.